Welcome to Jemison Metals Safety Orientation. Today we're going to start off, we're going to read some of the safety policy for the corporation, and we can move on from there. Okay, we at Jemison Metals are committed to providing a safe, accident-free, and healthy work environment for everyone. However, excellent safety and healthy conditions do not occur by chance. They are the result of diligent work and careful attention to all employees' policies by everyone. Safety demands cooperation on everybody's part. Thus, it's important that communication be kept open at all times between management and employees. Workers who notice hazards or other safety problems or feel that they need additional training must notify their supervisors. Management at all levels will address these concerns and take corrective action when warranted. Safety and health are a top priority in this organization, and everybody's important as productivity and quality. In fact, they go hand in hand. Of course, the best reason for you to observe these policies is because it's in your best self-interest to do so. Conscientiously following them can help you stay safe and healthy. Okay, the safety program is located in your manager's offices when you get to the branches. It's in 2 blue books that are going to contain all of the information that we're touching on here today. Okay, material safety data sheets, or MDS sheets. Material safety data sheets are part of every chemical that are in the building. So what they cover is what the chemical is, hazards and health risks, protections from materials or personal protective equipment, and the safety resource, or better known as who made the chemical. Right to know, or a key part to know, the manufacturers must supply them with us, and then we supply them to all of our employees. What they tell you is the name and chemical and common name, hazardous ingredients, chemical characteristics, health hazards, symptoms of exposure, fire explosion or reactivity, and container labeling. Okay, container labeling also would have to do with pictograms that are designed to show you what the hazard is for each chemical. And we'll have a handout to show you that, or a slide. Okay, handling and storage, it'll teach you how to keep it from handling and make sure that the safety data sheets are up to date. That'll be done by your safety professional at your branch. Categories that they continue to cover are identification, hazard identification, composition information on ingredients, first aid measures, firefighting measures, accidental release measures, handling and storage, exposure controls, physical and chemical properties, stability and reactivity, toxicological, ecological, disposal, transport, regulatory, and if that's not enough, all other information. Okay, here at Jemison Metals, we work on a 5S system, which is standardize, sweep, sort, straighten, and it requires self-discipline to do those. Those are your 5 S's, and at your branches, then we'll have posters available to show you what the circle is. Okay, if you have an accident while you're working for Jemison Metals, you're going to contact your supervisor immediately, and that's whether it's a serious accident or just an injury or an incident. Okay, we will take you to the hospital if it's a serious enough incident or accident, and you will be re-drug tested. Okay, serious accidents will be considered anything that's other than just a Band-Aid or simply wrapping it back and going right back to work. Incidents also are tracked, so make sure you tell your immediate supervisors and or your safety professional in your building that you had an incident. The difference between an incident and an accident are an incident is just that. It's just something that happened. An accident is just that. It's an accident. Okay, we do have safety suggestion boxes at each branch, and we do have safety forms, and you can ask your local supervisor where those boxes are located. Overall safety throughout the building. Maintain safety sense. Arriving to work prepared and alert allows you the ability to prevent certain accidents and the ability to react to sudden incidents. Wear your safety equipment, gloves, glasses. Try to stay off your cell phones while you're in the building. Those are not allowed to be in the building while you're at work. Be prepared for emergencies. Know the location of first aid stations, fire extinguishers, fire and tornado evacuation plans, and lockout tagout procedures. Personal safety practices, right to know, MSDS and safe lifting procedures. Make sure that you stay away from slippery or tripping hazards, and also at the same time make sure that the tripping hazards are kept up off the floor. Keep your banding, air lines, and so on up off the floor, and make sure that the aisleways are kept clean and neat. When stacking things throughout the building, make sure you try to keep your stacks as straight and as uniform as possible. Warehouse safety. Okay. Protection from hazards. Practice good housekeeping. Don't leave things on the floor. Keep areas clean and free from trash, scrap, and other things that could cause trips or falls. Wear your PPE, gloves, protective footwear, which are steel toes, eye protection, Kevlar sleeves if needed, hearing protected if needed, and then if you're going to be working in the wood area, make sure that you know that there are chainsaws in use in the wood areas. Basic safety. Use your common sense. Don't allow your common sense to get you hurt throughout the day. If you think it's not safe to do it that way, probably isn't. Okay, exit routes. Exit routes are considered any route that goes through a man door and or dock door. Man doors, the exit route is the same dimensions as the door, which is 3 feet wide and 7.5 feet tall. We do not block exit routes with any type of materials, whether it's steel or boxes or anything else. Exit routes must be kept clean and clear at all times. Okay, confined spaces in the building. Okay, all of our confined space throughout the entire corporation are all tagged confined space, do not enter. We do not enter anything that's considered a confined space. Confined space is defined as any area that you cannot leave in a 365-degree area. Okay, fire and tornado drills. Okay, fire and tornado drills are performed throughout the seasons at your locations. Okay, your severe weather shelter area is the same as your tornado shelter. Please ask your local branches where your tornado shelter is. Now, in the event of a tornado and or a fire, you'll be notified over the PA system that we need to take shelter immediately. Okay, your fire drill, you'll be meeting in the parking lot in front of the building, and if you are conducting or we have a tornado problem or a severe hurricane problem if you're in the southern states, once you get into the secured area, practice the duck method, which is try to get to the lowest part of the room, try to get under something, cover your head, and then keep inside for at least 30 minutes after you think this area is clear. Okay. The severe weather shelter area will also be used for earthquakes and or tornadoes or anything other than a fire. Okay. The machine procedures, make sure that before you leave, if it's a drill and or if it's a fire and or tornado, make sure that you shut off your machines before you leave the immediate area. Okay, as far as lightning safety, if we have a problem with lightning being struck in the buildings, then we just want to make sure that we don't touch anything that's attached to the building itself so that we can stay safe in our buildings. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about fire safety. There's 3 things needed to make a fire: heat, oxygen, and fuel. That's known as the fire triangle. The reason why we go over this, every 3 seconds a fire is reported in the United States. 5,000 Americans die in fire every year. 100 firefighters die every year. 100,000 firefighters injured. 350,000 people are injured every year. Millions of dollars in lost property. And 97% of all fires can be put out with a fire extinguisher. Okay, there's 4 letters to tell you how to use a fire extinguisher. Those are P, A, S, S. You pull the pin at the top of the fire extinguisher. A, aim at the base of the flames. Stay between 6 and 8 feet away. Squeeze the handle or press the handle depending on type of fire extinguisher. And S, again, sweep from side to side of the base of the flames until it goes away. So it's P, A, S, S. All of our fire extinguishers are considered A, B, C fire extinguishers, which are good for everything from wood, cloth, paper, rubber, flammable liquids, gases, and greases, and energized and electrical and hydraulic components. We do have, in some of our branches, we also have halon fire extinguishers, which are considered to be part of our safety for our computer networks, because the dust would kill our computers. So we do have halon fire extinguishers in certain aspects of the rooms. Okay, when you're going around for housekeeping for fires, make sure that light bulbs are at least 4 inches away from any combustible material. Make sure that we don't smoke within inside the building. And in case of a fire, you're going to go through the 3A system, which is activate the fire system alarm, which could be just yelling, saying fire, 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 or tornado, tornado, tornado. Or we then will activate the alarm, assist anyone in the immediate area, and last but not least, attempt to escape, but only after 1 and 2 have been met. So we want to attempt to help anybody that's in the line of hazard before we try to escape the area. Okay, noise hazards. Noise hazards, anything over 85 decibels is considered harmful to your hearing. At the 85 decibel range, we try to use earplugs, which are available through your maintenance departments throughout each of the branches. Okay, most of our machines in our buildings run anywhere from 80 to 83 decibels, which they say is not harmful to your hearing. But at the same time, if you wished or desire to have earplugs, then they are available. Okay, they have different types of earplugs. They're usually a foam type that fit inside your ear. Okay, earplugs are good for noise reduction of up to 32, possibly even 33 decibels once you insert them in your ears. And now there is ear muffs if you're going to be using a chainsaw in the area in the machines. Then we have ear muffs available for that as well. Now, as far as inserting earplugs into your ears, first thing you want to do is make sure that your hands are washed before you touch your earplugs. Make sure that you do not insert the earplugs too deep into your ear canal. Make sure the outside of the earplug is flush with the outside of your ear so that you do not push it in too deep into your ears. Okay, if you are asked to be on the safety teams for each branch, a safety team consists of evaluating your branch for safety hazards, and then we also try to do a walkthrough to make sure that the branches are kept up to the safety standards. Okay. As you're working throughout your plant, be aware that you are going to have muscle strains and aches and pains due to your working environments. Okay. Try to stretch before you come to work. Try to manipulate your hands and feet, wrists, and shoulders so you don't end up with musculoskeletal disorders, better known as carpal tunnel, tendonitis, rotator cuff injuries, tennis elbow, or low back injuries. Use proper lifting technique, which would be make sure that you bend your knees, get a firm grip on whatever you're trying to pick up. Lift with your legs, not with your back. At the same time, don't do any excess stretching or straining when you're picking up the material. Okay, violence in the workplace is not tolerated in any form, whether that's verbal and or physical. Wellness. Health risks, in other words, smoking, inactivity, you're overweight, depression, or high stress. Health screening is available for you through blood pressure, stress, cholesterol, diabetes, cancer, and cardio fitness. Activity to relieve stress would be walking. Actions to relieve stress, better eating habits, regular exercise, and taking one thing at a time, and don't try to get stressed out over your work. Okay, team building. As you're working with your fellow employees, try to be friendly, offer a helping hand, volunteer for unwanted projects, leave things better than when you found them, be aware of your annoying habits, invite a new person, to eat if you want to get to know them. Listen to their problems. You don't have to agree with them, but at least listen. And then last but not least, if you have somebody give you a hand, try to say thanks at the end. Okay, bloodborne pathogens. Bloodborne pathogens are anything that can be conducted or transmitted through your blood or saliva. Okay, exposure could be HIV, hepatitis B, and or C. What happens is the HIV or hepatitis attack your immune system and transmitted through contact. Make sure you wash your hands often if you've got people that are working around you that are sick. PPE for bloodborne pathogens are rubber gloves, face shields, and if you do have cuts on your hands, make sure they are band-aided and so that you don't have access to an open wound here in the building. Personal hygienes: wash your hands often, flush any immediately infected area, and then cleanup can be done if somebody bleeds on the floor or a machine with water and bleach. Okay, overhead cranes. Parts of an overhead crane are the bridge, the trolley, the rope, haul rope, the hook, and then attachments. Okay, attachments to the overhead crane could be anything from just a hook to a caddy lifter to a spreader bar to a sheet lifter, or in some instances 96-inch and a smaller C-hooks. Functions and limitations: lift or move material to a specific area. Sheet lifters are used to grab and lift sheets of steel. Caddy lifts are done for the same thing. C-hooks are used for large coils of steel, and a spreader bar are used to lift something that's much longer than what you have access to. Wire rope is described to determine what type of rope is safe. Description of the inside of the wire rope. Rigging and other devices could be anything from chains to slings to shackles and clevises. Okay, pre-operation inspection. Okay, what you're going to do is take a visual inspection of your overhead crane. Make sure that the haul rope does not look cracked and or broken. Take a quick look at anything that you're using attached to your hook. In other words, your sheet lifters or caddy lifters, make sure that they don't seem to be stressed and or cracked. We'll teach you basic hand signals when we get you back to the branches. Hoisting and lowering personnel is completely against the rules and regulations. Taglines we don't use very often. Make sure that you know the weight of what you're trying to pick up, and then make sure that your overhead crane and attachments are suitable for picking up said weight. In other words, if you have a 20,000 pound capacity crane and you have a 3,000 pound capacity shackle holding it all together, then the most weight you can pick up is just 3,000 pounds. Okay, chains and slings. The nylon slings or braided slings that are in your buildings, they all have one thing in common: they have red threads inside the core of the slings. So once you fray the outside of the sling into the red threads, then that particular sling cannot be used. Lifting chains, the way you can tell the difference between a lifting chain and a binding chain. Lifting chains have got a rated load limit attachment to the chains. If you do not see a rated load limit, in other words, for either using it as a choker or collar or stress for lifting capacity, then it becomes just a binding chain. Okay, the way you tell if a binding chain or lifting chain are worn out is look for the large weld area that holds the links together. The weld line on the chain is also a wear line. So what happens is as they're dragged on the floor, they tend to wear at the weld lines. So once the weld line becomes the same diameter as a chain, then you no longer want to use that as a lifting chain. You've compromised how much you can lift. Okay, lockout tagouts. What is a lockout? It physically locks out a piece of equipment, disables electrical, pneumatic, hydraulic, and mechanical energy sources. What is a tagout? Tagout is a tag placed on the machine at a start button or electrical box. This machine is not physically locked out. The tag will instruct you not to turn on the machine. The name of the person who tagged out the machine is written on the tag, and they are the only person that can remove the tag once it is put on the machine. Any questions should be directed to the tag out person, in other words, the person's name that's on the tag. And do not turn anything on. Okay, why do we use a lockout tagout? It's to protect employees from physical harm while working on a machine or disable an unusable piece of equipment. Who uses the lockout tagout? Maintenance personnel locks out equipment. Operators can also tag out a piece of equipment, but once it's tagged out, then the maintenance department will take over. We do lockout, tagout testing throughout the building on a yearly basis, so that'll be performed by your maintenance department. Okay, dust masks. The proper way to put on a dust mask is gently compress the nose bridge that goes over the top of your nose. Make sure that you gently pull the elastic straps at the back of the head so that it's a secure fit. Now, if you have a beard or mustache, dust masks are not going to hold out the dust from around your face. So make sure that the nose bridge is just gently compressed across the top. Now, in our buildings, we have a gauger. Now, what a gauger is, it's a radiation source. And the radiation source is designed to tell you how thick the steel is as it's running. Okay, our particular gaugers all work on 1,000 millicuries, and as you have ever had an x-ray, this is about 1/3 of what the x-ray is, so it's very unlikely that you'll be hurt from the gamma rays that are coming off the gaugers. Now, if the radiation source becomes exposed, what we'll do is we'll drop a 1/4 inch thick steel plate over the top of it, rope off an area roughly 10 to 12 feet on any side, and then reclaim the source and put it back in a lead-lined container. Okay, what the source looks like, it looks basically the size and shape of a 1/4, and if it becomes exposed, then we'll contact advanced gauging and they will reclaim it for us. Okay, chainsaw safety. Make sure that when you're using chainsaws, make sure you're using your PPE or personal protective equipment. Gloves must be worn, eyewear, face protection. If you're going to use this saw for any length of time, you should be wearing chaps. Inspection of a chainsaw, your biggest thing you want to check for is to make sure you have enough gas and oil, make sure the chain's not too loose and or too tight. Make sure the bar is done in such a way that the bar is not restricting the chain flow. Okay, radial arm saw safety. Make sure that all the carbide teeth are on the blade and they are not missing. Now, if one tooth no longer has a carbide tip, that's fine. Any more than one tooth missing from the carbide saw means that that saw blade should be pulled out of use. Okay, welding and cutting. If you're not the actual welder and or cutter in the building, make sure that at the same time you do not watch them weld or cut. It's harmful for your eyes. What'll happen is you'll end up with spots in front of your eyes, so you do not want to watch either welding or cutting in progress. If the screens are up that are not around their welding and cutting, for one reason or another, just do not watch them do it. PPE for welding and cutting would be the same: gloves, cutting glasses, or welding helmet, long sleeve shirts, and make sure that your neck is protected from the heat coming off of the welder and or cutting torch. Okay, how to inspect a grinding wheel. Okay, you've got two types of grinding wheels in the buildings. You've got pedestal grinders, which are usually in the maintenance area, and then you also have handheld grinders. Now, the way you test the grinding wheel to make sure that it's still be able to be used is you gently tap on the side of a grinding wheel with a small piece of wood. If the grinding wheel rings, chances are it's still good and it hasn't been cracked. Now, if you tap on the wheel and it makes a strange sound or no sound at all, then the grinding wheel should not be put in service. Okay, pedestal grinders also have several guards that need to be put in place. They have a tongue guard, a tool rest, and none of those should be any further away than 1/8 of an inch. Okay, a little bit about electrical safety throughout the building. When turning on and off electrical components in the building, there's a possibility of an arc flash or arc blast happening. Okay, what that is, an arc flash is a rapid explosive discharge of electrical energy that usually results from a short circuit fault. Metal vaporized by the 5,000 degree plus temperatures of an arc flash produces a high temperature plasma. The plasma wave can propel shrapnel in high velocities in many directions. Explosions have been known to occur in as little 1/10,000th of a second. The event is unexpected, violent, and deadly. So when you're turning on and off main electrical components in your building, make sure that you do not stand directly in front of the electrical cabinets. You want to make sure that you stand to the side of electrical cabinets on all sides. And just turn on and off the component from there. Okay. All electrical cabinets will have a 3 feet buffer zone in any direction so that you can escape in case of an arc flash. Okay, some of the effects of electricity burns and or hazards. Okay, there's different types of electrical current. Okay, that's broken down into a couple of different parts: milliamps and amps. Okay. More than 3 millionths of an amp, you get a powerful shock. And more than 10 millionths of an amp, you get what is known as a no-let-go threshold. More than 30 milliamps, your breathing can stop. And now we're into amps, which is a little bit higher problems. More than 4 amps, your heart stops. 5 to 20 amps, you get tissue burns, which is like what's around your house. More than 20 amps, you get tissue and organ damage. Okay, some of our machines run on 400 amps, so you can imagine the damage to you. Respect everything that happens around you with the arc blast and also electrical current. Okay, if you're not sure, do not go into electrical cabinets at any time. Always contact your maintenance personnel. Okay, now a little bit about terrorism and security. The types of threats that could ever happen here are slim, but what to do in case of a possible terrorism attack or security problem. If a agent or other contaminant in the air, make sure we turn off air handling systems. Notify the supervisors, and the supervisors will notify people outside of the immediate building. Okay, the company participates in an EAP, which is an employee assistance program, so if anything happens within that, you will be able to contact the EAP and get advice on what to do to take care of yourself. Okay, a little bit about forklift driving rules. When driving onto a semi-trailer, the wheels should be chocked so that the trailer can't move. When driving a lift truck, the seatbelt must be worn at all times. Speed when driving should not exceed 5 miles per hour. Now, our lift trucks will all go substantially faster than that, so watch your speed. A pre-shift inspection should be performed before each day of operation and a log sheet saved. The bare minimum, you should do a function test so that when you're pulling back on the levers, make sure that your forks go up, go down, shift right, shift back, and from side to side. Make sure that all safety systems are working. Popular horn, flashing lights, and backup horn. Reporting any leaks to maintenance immediately upon finding them. When driving the forklift, the fork should be no more than 6 to 10 inches off the floor. Never lift anyone with the forks. No more than one person on a lift truck at any time. When passing in a narrow aisle, make sure you slow down. Always tilt the mast back when traveling with a load. Keep material against the mast while driving. Never drive up to someone with the forks loaded and or unloaded. Slow down when turning corners and sound the horn, especially if you're in a blind corner situation. When driving is done for your day, forks should be flat on the floor, not tipped down, not tail down, flat on the floor. Never leave the forks in the air when you're not sitting on the forklift, and never walk or stand underneath elevated forks. Okay, we've concluded most of our safety training. Now we're going to cap it off with a little safety summary. The safety summary goes as life is short. Isn't it silly to make it even shorter because of a drop or guard for an instant? Taking precautions is one of the most valuable things you can do and takes the least amount of effort and time. Accidents are caused by people who don't take the time to do the job the right way. As we've gone over this material, you've probably found that most of the rules are common sense. As you work, use your common sense to help you, not hurt you. Use your head. Don't allow one careless mistake to ruin your lives or lives of your family. Safety is a 24-hour job. You don't put it on at the beginning of your shift and take it off at the end. You use it when you're driving, working, or playing. Let's all say stay safe and healthy. The ability of an employee to survive at home, in his car, or place of work without serious injury depends on many things. Your personal attitude and determination to work and live safely is essential. We at Jemison Metals hope that this outline of proper safety procedures is helpful for your career in the metals industry. Stay safe and healthy.